Continuing with the Wisdom of Thoth, this is part 3. The question asked, what is new about the new earth, and is it new to creation as a whole? A new expansion of the heaven worlds? Thoth replies, it is new to the earth and its incarnated inhabitants, to the earth as a living vessel, a sentient being, which contains the crucible for incarnated souls and all its living things. Yet it is not new in the sense that World System 1 planets in the heavens are continually moving through their cycles to become World System 2 planets and beyond, to be embraced back into the Akashic universe of total oneness. Now this takes place because of the planetary genius, and the planetary genius is lifted from the center of that planet and moves into the new realm with it. So that's why in this instance it is a new earth and not just an entirely new world. The scientists refer to the Big Bang. They are partly right in their understanding of it, yet it is far beyond their spiritual scope of comprehension in general. This is a large topic, but briefly, beingness, that is stars, planets, life, and the spirit within it, are all in the process of reuniting with that which already exists. On the ultimate level of being, none of it ever left its singularity. In another aspect of being, it expanded out, and now it's coming back together. But as scientists have discovered, it's not coming back together physically. It is continuing to expand. It is the very expansion itself that is uniting all, for as matter expands, it becomes more singular. It becomes the one. Question. I wonder also if Thoth is able to share with us any of his own aims for the new earth and for living there, that we might understand. Thoth replies, I have no personal agendas. My experience of realities is far different from the souls incarnated now on the current earth. The greater plan is really not a plan, but a natural process of flow according to universal law. Hierarchies, that's angels, illumined ones, etc., assist this flow and at times insert specific quickening inspiration, but they do not control it or even direct it in the complete sense of the word. The souls gathering in Numisome, New Earth Star, are the ones to plan their paths and how things will look and feel to them. They also do this in the current Earth. The difference in a World System 2, such as Numisome, is that they will do so with greater awareness, attunement to their higher spiritual selves, and harmony among one another. They will not choose to cut themselves off from the ability to manifest out of the ether, opting instead for the hard physical labor and time required in the current earth. They will have the common sense awareness necessary to manifest in a way that is not only beneficial to themselves, but to the whole. They will not do these things perfectly, but they will be open to receive assistance and greater understanding from master intelligences and their illumined emissaries. These illumined ones and angelics will be readily available to them in a tangible way, with no veil having to be parted to experience and commune with them. The questioner continues, I suppose I'm really asking, is Thoth able to share with us a view of the purpose of the new earth? Thoth responds, to expand the universal flow according to divine law, eventually bringing all back to the point of singularity within Source God. The next question. You state, without the Hall of Records, the conduit for the Earth's moving into the next crystalline matrix zone cannot be achieved. From Thoth's perspective, what is needed to bring this forward so that when everything is in alignment, these 48 Enochian masters can come together and release their keys and codes? I'm not going to address the larger topic of the Enochian masters here, but let's just take it from this particular question. And Thoth says, natural cycles in the earth will take place in accordance with the awakening beings of the planet. As these cycles progress with the aid and guidance of the hierarchy and illumined ones, so the Hall of Records will be activated. This is true also for the 48 Enochian masters, quickening to bring forth the keys and codes to the earth. Energies of the gods or powers turn the planets in their hands. As it turns and moves through the currents of infinite possibilities, so the desires of the souls of earth fill the sacred cup, and the planet drinks deeply from the chalice of the world. If the desires are coming from a place of disempowered ignorance, the liquid in the cup is bitter, causing the seas to churn. The earth boils and then freezes into a deathly sleep. When the desires are uplifting, hopeful, and full of loving presence, the cup turns golden, and the liquid becomes the elixir of eternal life. The earth warms, blushing in the new day, and the larks sing upon the highest flowering branches beneath a new sun. Question: what is Thoth's perspective on the string theory and the multiple membranes? Thoth responds, the membranes are like undulating currents of light tension. These are ultra-frequency light waves that have an elastic quality due to their unique particle relationship, how each particle relates to one another. These particles are, shall we say, coated with a signal that communicates a glue to bind the light particles in a specific manner. This binding is not static, but in constant pulse. It is turning itself on and off, and thus the communication between the ultralight particles goes on and off. Each membrane has its own on-off code. When one membrane is on, the other occupying the same space is off. Thus they do not collide. There is much more to this topic, but this is the basic understanding. Question: you have talked about the infusion of tetratrions, hyperspace tetrahedrons, with open-ended connection to one another to form dimensional transference zones. What do you mean by open-ended? Thoth replies, in the context of hyperspace tetrahedrons, open-ended connection to one another means that they can both send and receive omnidirectionally and do not confine their connections and thus communications to narrow pathways. It is less limiting and faster, able to jump hyperdimensionality in all directions simultaneously. Question: are there specific synergies for the different Merkabic soul families in relation to the ascension process in its last stage? Thoth responds, certain soul groups will work together for specific ascension dynamic functions. These soul groups will be composed of various soul families that have connections on the one family tree, which causes them to align in their focus and directives with the greater ascension vehicle. For instance, some souls will extract the planetary genius and transfer it to the waiting souls who will carry it into the new earth. This is just one of many group efforts. The question: does each soul develop awareness of this specificity when the time comes close? Yes, it does. There will be souls on earth at that time who will not carry such specific tasks. They will instead anchor the mass, so to speak, in order for consciousness to evaporate its lower substratum or lower akasha. A question: is it a correct estimation to consider the present planetary energy's activation is having a secondary effect, that of an upheaval of collective emotional fields that, like a tsunami, clash and ignite old emotional patterns and brain circuits, even those already inactive for individuals all around the world? Thoth responds, yes, this is correct. This is a burn-off phase. It ignites to change condition. Then the question is, what would be the best way to help the progressive deactivation of that emotional wave for those that may be aware of the phenomena and open to aiming their intent in that direction? Thoth responds, to become among the transparent, like a crystal, allowing the various light rays to move through and separate into specific color rays of higher purpose and direction than the various light beams entering the crystal. Do not become attached to the form of these various beams of often seemingly chaotic light signals, for within them are true conduits for ascension consciousness. They simply must be allowed to go through their process of separating out the ray components and not become trapped in the energy fields of others who attempt to judge or manage them. I must pause in the reading here to say that this is so appropriate for 2023 especially, what we are going through now on the planet and have been for the last years or so. At least, since 2017, around that time, these things started picking up dramatically, and every year it seems to be more intense. So, becoming that crystal and understanding what Thoth is really implying here, I believe is important. You might wish to copy down that particular part, just those few sentences, to study them, to take them within, because there's a lot to unpack in it. Question: could Thoth enlighten us regarding the latest information concerning the Lemurians? Much is being written about Mount Shasta being their main domain underneath, as well as above in the etheric form, as well as humans being able to, in the near future, contact them, and so forth. Thoth replies, the Mu people, as the Hawaiians still call them, still have some remnant strains on in the earth. They are within the interior of the planet, a slightly removed dimension, and in the Valley of the Blue Star in Tibet. There's also a community of Lemurians in the cavern areas of Mount Shasta and beneath the city of Lhasa in Tibet. There are then the Lemurian time walkers who come among you from the past. In the future, the barriers of time will become less defined in your current electromagnetic zone of the planet, and humanity of your realm will then be able to more freely interact with unimanity on all levels of the earth reality and on many cosmic levels. Question: as I understand it, this process of the formation of the new earth is complete to blueprint stage, i.e., I understand that most of the mapping of the physical features of the new Earth star has taken place due to participation of many ascended beings from many traditions, Earth Devas, and so forth over the Earth and beyond. Thoth responds, much of it has been accomplished in this manner, yes. But there is much more to go. And also, there is a significant input of design and patterning from realms beyond the solar system, most especially from Rigel and Orion, and also from the Pleiades and Sirius. Question: could you clarify if the ascension for children will be different from that of incarnate adults? Children who are alive at the time of the mass ascension of Earth will become instrumental guides into a world they will naturally perceive with more clarity and understanding than most adults. For example, many children who are now incarnating have either not been incarnated on Earth before or not since a very long time ago. They hold different codes and matrices than those of us who have been earthbound for many lifetimes. All human children at this time of mass ascension will contain a strong resonance field with the new Earth star, which will aid the entire process for humanity in its ascension. They will be helping to orient and organize the transmuted atoms to rematerialize in the new Earth star with more refined patterns of energy. Think of the whole of being as a many-faceted crystal. Each facet gives off a unique angle of reflection and contains the whole picture within it. Evolution is a man-made concept, although I use this term at times as it is understood by humanity and their application of it. There is really only the all, as souls in various modalities of being reflect aspects of the all, so they see this reflection as a path or evolutionary line that moves toward the all and expands to include more of it as it moves forward. In actuality, evolution is a product of time, and time is a perception only. Yes, this perception can be measured, and it can be warped, speeded up, and slowed down, as perception creates subjective realities. Thus, evolution is bound within the same perception, that there is a timeline which it faithfully follows to an ultimate completion. Yet human beings and whole worlds of beings do expand awareness, at first through an expansion of perception, and then jettisoning perception altogether to become awareness. It is then that awareness is no longer an action, but a place that is all-inclusive. Expansion of awareness, however, is not the result of spiritual evolution, but of simply turning loose of everything to become nothing. This does not mean that evolution is an illusion. It does exist, but as a working concept within a specific consensual agreement of expression among the many. This many cuts to the cellular and even DNA level, so long as the original concept is in place within the self-created and sustained program of the many. While cycles are in place to aid in the evolution of the universe, cycles are temporal and very localized to what humans and many of their kindred beings perceive and work within and with. When the perception that the many have of the spiral of evolution and thus cycles, each point above another point on the same spiral being a more evolved cycle of the previous one, reaches a certain point of oversaturation in consciousness, the spiral becomes a torus, like a donut with a hole in the center, and then all being has no beginning and no end, and thus no cycles either. Of course, there are individuals incarnate on earth now and in your past who have a larger grasp of living in the torus than the many, although they have not perfected it. Such souls are usually yogic masters or other great illuminations. One can say that there are multiple universes, or one universe with multiple arenas of interaction with being. Evolution is a subsystem of perceptual reality and not the mainspring getting there. One could argue that turning from a spiral to a torus in being is evolution, but actually it is not, since the torus is already there. The many simply choose not to perceive it yet. Choice is not a pawn of evolution, although it knows how to play the game. Eternity is the it beyond all categories and systems. The people of Mu called it the I. Now I'm translating it into English, so it will be two not capital I's, little I's, I, which is the sacred nothing. Now, how that flows in the actual language of Mu, I don't know, but Thoth gave me the Book of I, a very short little book in the 1970s, and it was called the Book of I. And this is the sacred nothing. So to continue with what Thoth is speaking about here, the people of Mu called it the I, the sacred nothing. Creation is an act of finding that sacred nothing that already is. There is no eternal fixed spirit because there are infinite ways to approach it, to know it, to be it. So from the evolutionary perspective, even God is evolving, and yet beyond the perception of evolution, everything already is. To the human mind, this is, of course, a paradox. To divinity, it is the formula of omni-being. And lastly, Thoth speaks. Anytime souls gather together in intent and love, so they make a difference. They change aspects within themselves and therefore how they see others and things around them. When it is done in mass, there is intensification of that perceptual change in the Akashic field of the earth, affecting many aspects of the planet in a powerful and positive way.